Okay, you guys, today's podcast is brought to you by Revive Events. And Revive Events is a company that my husband, Lindsey Duncan, and I own together. It's a company that is going to bring amazing, life-changing, revitalizing, rejuvenating, reviving, yes, events. Just talking about the ultimate paradigm shift and what that means, how you can grow through your struggles, grow through your adversity, and just really connecting that mind, body, and spirit. So today we're going to talk about Revive Events.
I remember when we came up with the name Revive, it was pretty much an aha moment.
It totally was. Yeah.
It's the perfect name for what we're trying to do.
Exactly. Let's tell the story real quick, because that actually was a really good, moment in time. It was very organic.
Yeah,
so you
kept
tell
coming
it.
up with names, and they just didn't feel right. They felt forced, and they felt like just kind of fake, just kind of plastic. It just didn't hit the chord that we were trying to hit.
And where were we?
At our house.
Yeah, dining room table.
With our team.
Yeah, that was very early on. We kind of said several years from now, we're going to remember those were the good old days where everything was kind of created and birthed right there at the dining room table.
Yep.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about the event, kind of what's coming, what people can expect, why we're doing the event. So you have been away from business for several years now.
And events.
And events, yeah. When's the last time you did an event? 2015 maybe?
Probably 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So why, after all these years, have you decided to come back?
Well, there's a whole course of events that took place in my life that were, pretty intense. Obviously, I think a lot of people know about the tragic event where, I was forced to defend your life and my life.
Yeah.
And that really sent me on a tailspin, because you have to take two lives, and that's pretty intense.
Right.
And it forces you to ask a lot of questions, a lot of really deep questions. And anyway, so I went on a very long journey, a search for truth, and I had a very intense, life-changing experience. And in that experience, as part of that experience, I received a very clear message that I'm not finished, I'm not done. And when I say I'm not done, I mean I'm not done serving humanity, helping people. And I knew that I wasn't supposed to, in my mid to late 50s, sit on a beach and rot and do nothing, especially with all the knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
And so it was a very clear message that I am supposed to go back out to humanity, to serve humanity, and to help people get well on all levels.
Right. But you and I were very determined that we would stay away from business, that we were not going to do any more business. So why would, you change your mind on that?
Yeah, we were hyper determined.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did, because I don't really view this as business. I view it more as a service. I view it more as a calling. I view it more, it feels different to me. It doesn't feel like a business. It doesn't feel like there's not a board of directors. There's not people focusing on profits.
Right.
It's basically just you and I and an amazing team of people who love people.
Yeah.
And
like a family.
Yeah, and who are really, really, truly, genuinely committed to changing and improving people's lives. And so I view it different. It feels different. It is different, and it's chock full of purpose.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've never done business really before.
Doesn't feel like this.
Yeah. I've been a stay-at-home mom, but, this definitely doesn't feel like your 9-to-5 corporate America business. I think what we're doing is very different than that. There's business related, obviously, but it's not at the core of what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, I got to be honest. I'll tell you, I think you, as a business person, another person would be shocked if they heard you say that you've never done business, because you are extremely efficient and focused and driven and very good at business.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm floored, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's kind of like maybe leads me into my next thing that we should talk about. Most husband and wives would not do business together,
That's a
would
landmine.
avoid it like the plague.
Yep.
But you and I are doing business together. So why do you think, you give your take and I'll give you mine?
Well, we are and we aren't. If you look at what we've created, it's basically 3 separate businesses. My business, which is all in nutritionals, your business, which is Tattoos of My Soul, and then Revive Events, which is both of our business. But Revive really fuels, is really the catalyst to our message of what we're both trying to do, which is body, health, healing, mind,
spirit,
health, healing.
Yeah.
And Revive is the vehicle.
Yeah.
It's the jet that propels those 2 businesses to deliver their message.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny that you use the word catalyst because that's the exact word that came to mind for me as well. And I think the reason it works for me, for us to do business together, is because you couldn't have one without the other. My business is about, your mind and your spirit and taking care of that and reviving that and healing on the inside. But yours is also about healing on the inside, but just from the physical aspect. And you really can't have one without the other because they're so interconnected, So it just makes sense.
Yeah, I have to tell you that I used to be so myopic and so focused on just the body. And I now very humbly realize the power of the mind.
Yeah.
So I don't think that my business would be as effective without you and without what you're doing. Because what you're doing in many ways is you're clearing the way for the physical healing to take place. And I experienced this when I went out of country, when you and I were apart for 45 days.
Yeah.
I experienced the healing of the mind and the soul and the spirit.
Right.
And that had to happen before my body could heal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting too, when we were apart for those 45 days, because even though we both went through the same traumatic event, we have processed it very differently.
Totally differently.
Yeah. And we needed to heal differently. So we spent some time apart. Which was very, challenging, but therapeutic and healthy and needed.
Difficult.
Yeah, and difficult. A lot of different emotions. But it was interesting when we came back together, we both had pretty much had the same revelation.
Share that, Molly, because I think you share that better than I do. And I think it's very interesting because it was such an aha moment.
Yeah. So we were in Florida. We had met in Florida just to kind of...
After 45 days?
Yeah, just to kind of reconnect and catch up and see what the other person had been doing, basically. And I said to you, you're probably going to think I'm crazy, but I think we're supposed to do some kind of business that helps people. And you said...
It's exactly what I have been thinking, exactly what has been going through my mind, and exactly what I've been struggling and battling with.
Yeah. So it's pretty evident at that point that we were supposed to do something. We're both getting that strong feeling.
And it was very clear to us that yours would revolve around the spirit because your first step, your main step to healing yourself was revolved around the spirit and around the mind.
Yeah.
And around the purification and releasing in that area.
Yeah.
And mine was as well, but mine also included the physical body.
Yeah.
When I started my healing during that 45 days, what was the first thing that I did? I stopped eating.
Yeah.
I just started fasting right away. I knew in order for me to get the maximum results with my healing and to get to the deepest level possible, I needed to remove food
Yeah.
and remove any diversion from myself.
Right.
And that's why I went to the desert.
Yeah. Like Jesus did. There's a reason Jesus went to the desert.
Right.
Yeah. So when we think about Revive, when we talk about Revive, you and I both are excited about it, for a lot of different reasons. But what's the number one thing that you're most excited about?
Oh, wow. That's a difficult question. I think changing lives is going to be the number one thing.
Yeah.
I think there's the synergy of your message and my message I can't underscore the power and the importance of the synergy between what you're doing and what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, the end result is that person who's sitting in the audience hears something that you say that strikes a chord in them, which will happen. I see it happen in your office every day now with people that come in for coaching. Or someone sitting in the audience and there's something that I say that strikes a chord.
Right.
That chord causes them to change something in their life.
Yeah.
And that begins this massive transformation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm most excited about, is getting those letters and those emails and those messages saying, a year ago, what you said changed my life.
Yeah.
That's the payday right there.
Right. Right. I agree.
How about for you? What is it, if you had to pick, and I know there's a lot that you're excited about, but if you had to pick one thing, what would be the one thing that you're most excited about with our first several events with Revive?
On a personal level, it would be facing a fear
audience
of like
you're going to be great
getting up on stage and speaking in front of people. As a person who's never really liked to be the center of attention, that is something that I'm looking forward to, defeating that, like checking that one off the list. Like that's not a problem for me anymore,
I have zero worries about you with that.
Yeah. And I am confident in getting out there because I know what I have to say is truth, and I know it's going to help a lot of people. So, my nervousness will soon fade, because I'll just be excited to share what we've got. But I think from, the aspect of people that are coming to the event, I think it really goes along with what you're saying, just sharing something or telling a story or giving guidance in a way that truly shifts someone's thinking. Revive is really about the ultimate paradigm shift. And I think between you and I and what we have to share, because what we're going to be talking about is not, oh, we're perfect and we've done this and we've got it all figured out. This is a story really of brokenness and coming back from that. And I think broken people help other broken people. I think that's the only way it really happens. And so I love the place that you and I have been, even though it's been so hard. I love it because of where we are now. And so I'm really excited to just share that with people and see those light bulb moments.
Yeah. Would you change anything that we've been through?
No. No, wouldn't. And that's pretty crazy because in the last year and a half, we've almost had our lives taken. Yeah. And we've almost, had an end to our personal relationship.
Yeah. And a lot more.
And a lot more, yeah. So no, I wouldn't change it because I know we wouldn't be doing this work if we hadn't gone through it.
That's a very good point. I can say with that, with zero hesitancy, that we would not be doing any of this if we did not go through what we went through.
Right, yeah. Obviously, I'm never going to like what's happened to us, but I do trust completely the process, and I trust the experience.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So you've come out with some pretty awesome formulas. I see you working like day and night till like 3 a.m.
Yeah. It's my obsessive nature.
Yeah. You've had good formulas before, but I have to say, I think these formulas are they're off the charts, even better than anything that you've ever done. So tell me why they're different.
I've had these formulas locked in a vault, and I never felt like a company that I started or created was ready for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that the general public wasn't ready for them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ready, not ready in what way? What do you mean by
too
that?
advanced,
Uh-huh.
too strong, too
Yeah.
advanced. And I've also learned so much. It's now 38 years that I've been in the supplement formulating, nutrition, naturopathic, and natural field.
Mm-hmm.
38 years.
So all of my life.
Yes, all of your life.
Sorry, I couldn't pass that one up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch. And so while these formulas were in a certain form have been sitting waiting,
Yeah.
my knowledge has been growing and growing and growing. And I can tell you, I'm not the same formulator
Yeah.
today that I was when I formulated for one of the other companies that I created in the past.
Yeah.
And even though those formulas for those companies won numerous awards, they're not even close to what
Yeah.
I've created. When I say I've pulled these out of the vault, I mean not just my vault, but nature's vault.
Yeah.
And the traditional healing practices of some of these cultures from around the world out of their vault
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about formulas that are way beyond me,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't wait to see what they do
Yeah.
in people's bodies.
Right. Right. And it's not borrowed knowledge. It's,
Ooh.
experiential knowledge.
This
This is stuff that you've also done with your own healing,
Yeah.
and you've been on a huge journey.
Yeah.
And I think that you're also pulling a lot of knowledge from that,
No question about it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about this journal that you've created, because
Oh.
I find this fascinating.
Yeah.
How you've methodically tracked what you did to heal from this horrible trauma
Yeah.
and our subsequent almost breakup.
Right.
You tracked your steps
Yeah.
that allowed you to come out of the mud and into the light, kind of revive yourself.
Yeah.
You tracked it, and I watched you. You tracked it methodically,
Yeah.
and you've put it into a journal.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Why did you do it? How did you come up with even the idea to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And what are they going to like about it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've journaled for a long time. Journaling's something that I've always done.
At 5 a.m.
Yeah. It's not always been 5 a.m. though.
It's pretty early.
Yeah. It is now.
Every single morning.
But I know the way that I have journaled has changed in the last 7 to 8 months.
How?
So I used to journal pretty much everything I didn't like about my life,
Which is what most people
yeah,
do.
like anything negative that happened. It's almost like I felt like I needed to document it in some way,
Isn't that kind of normal journaling?
Probably. Like, dear diary, today this awful thing happened. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And what I didn't realize is when I'm documenting all of these things in my life that I don't necessarily like or that are not favorable, I'm giving more energy to them. I'm giving more power to them.
That is very true.
I'm reinforcing them in my mind. I'm reinforcing them in my spirit. I'm reliving them as I write them down.
You're watering them.
Oh,
like
yeah.
A seed. You're
Yeah.
watering it.
For sure. So my journaling technique, with no intention of my own, basically kind of just changed on its own. And I realized as the months went on, hey, you're kind of doing like a practice here. There's a certain strategy that you're doing every day that's really manifesting some serious positive results in your life.
Wow.
And if I look at how my life felt a year ago at this time compared to how it feels today, it's literally night and day difference. This time last year, I was suppressing our trauma, not dealing with it, distracting myself, self-medicating, just denying.
Yeah.
Today, I am all about dealing with what needs to be dealt with. And when I say deal with it, putting it out there with expectation that it will change. I kind of got
Putting it out there with positive
expectation. Yeah. And it all comes down to my faith, my faith in God, that anything that I believe to happen can happen with God.
You basically have taken traditional journaling and turned it on its head.
Yeah, maybe so.
And what you're saying to me is then you added your steps.
I did.
You added the exact steps that you utilized to heal from a attempted murder and an attempted breakup with the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Kidding.
It's true.
So you've basically mimicking your steps in your journal.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I want to share it with people because I feel like if it can help me in a short amount of time, because I've really only been doing these steps since January, if it can help me this much in that short amount of time, it can help other people. So that's in the works right now.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
It's interesting because your office is next to mine, and I see the people that go into your office upset, visibly shaken, upset, for a coaching session with you, and leave. They end up crying, very upset, and then they leave, and it's almost like they're lit up. They're happy, they're hugging you, they're laughing, and that's within 60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing in that office with your coaching and with your journal is definitely working.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do. I think you and I, if we were to sum it all up as to why we're doing what we're doing, it's because you and I know without a doubt that really, with all logic, you and I should not be here. If you look at what took place and just everything involved, there's really no explanation that as to why you and I are here, except for the fact that God wanted us here and we have work to do. And so I think that's the driving force behind my coaching, your formulas, everything.
It's funny, you meet people and you go, how you doing? And sometimes they'll say, well, I'm blessed and highly favored.
Yeah.
Ooh, you and I are blessed and highly favored.
We are, yeah.
We shouldn't be here, and we are. So every day, actually every breath is a gift.
Yeah, it is. And I love to encourage people just to have a little more gratitude. Don't wait for something traumatic to happen to be grateful,
I agree. So what's the biggest takeaway someone who comes to a Revive event, this event that's coming up?
Yeah.
What is the big takeaway? What do you feel, or what do you want them to walk away with?
I want them to walk away with what Revive is, which is the ultimate paradigm shift. I want them to walk in the door viewing whether it's their physical health or a situation that they're going through with a relationship or a job or whatever. They're walking through the door.
Money, finances,
anything. Could be anything. Their spiritual, relationship, whatever it is.
A problem with the kid, children, whatever.
Yeah. They're walking through the door. They're heavy with something because every single person is dealing with something and surviving something. And they come and there's something said, there's something experienced, and they realize that their adversity does not have to be their struggle or their scar or their wound. Their adversity can be their greatest strength. It just depends on their perspective. And that's really what we're about, for that whole weekend, is helping people change their perspective.
Yeah. Great.
What about you?
Takeaway?
Yeah.
Oh, I would say a concrete, solid plan of action to follow that will lead to the next step and the next step and the next step to total healing.
Yeah.
So, all-in nutritionals to me is about constant and never-ending improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Revive Events to me is about constant and never-ending improvement. And even your business to me,
Yeah.
it's not my business, but your business to me is about constant
Yeah.
and never-ending improvement. Well, you have to have a formula for
Mm-hmm.
that,
Right.
much like what you've done with your journal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I can give people the life-changing supplements,
Mm-hmm.
not 50, but 6 or 7
Yeah.
or 8,
Yeah.
and I can give them the eating program,
Mm-hmm.
and I can give them how to cut back on certain things that are not good for them. And I can give them a few things to do each day that is good for them.
Yeah.
And I can give them a roadmap, a simple, easy to follow roadmap
Yeah.
that they can count on day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
Then what'll happen is they'll get better and better and better and better and better, and pretty soon they'll never get off the path.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
never get off the path because the results are too profound.
Right.
The paradigm shift has happened.
Yeah.
They're not on the paradigm shift, they're in the paradigm shift.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I want.
Okay. Well, I think that we've done a pretty good job explaining our event. And one last question:
Mm-hmm.
Are you nervous about getting back up on stage? You think you still have it? I mean, it's been a while.
I'm
I mean, a little worried, I
I
mean,
am too.
Yeah.
I'm really worried. It's pretty scary for
Yeah.
me.
Okay. Well, we'll see how you do.
We'll find out.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Love you.
I love you.
Okay.